It's Randy Baumann and the DVE Morning Show. Scott Paulson, Mike Pursuta, who's living up here at camp. And, of course, Bill Crawford along with us as we broadcast live from Steelers training camp.
This is the part of the broadcast that we could dedicate an entire show to. In Memoriam, the players that we've cheered for and that we've lost this year. Although they're no longer on our team, they've left something behind, something that makes us laugh or cry or escape for a little while. So to those players who are on this list and some who are not, we thank you for the memories. James Harrison, a.k.a. Silverback, a.k.a. Debo. I will miss that tin advisor and how much you intimidated every quarterback we went up against and how you got held on every single play. I'll miss hearing people that made less than $30,000 a year bitch about Goodell and his fines on your behalf for helmet-to-helmet hits on defenseless receivers. I will miss your utter hatred for the commissioner. You left Roger Goodell with some pretty big pockets to fill. I don't really know what happened with your girlfriend or your pit bull, and that's on purpose. I could easily read about that stuff on the internet. But what I do know is I will always remember the best defensive play in Super Bowl history. Casey Hampton, a.k.a. Big Snack. I will miss you coming into camp every single year overweight and pissing off all the coaches. I'll miss that big belly and watching you try to pull your pants up as you waddle towards the sideline to come out for a play. I'll miss you clogging up the middle on #1 defenses for the last 12 seasons. But most of all, I'll miss that tiny, tiny helmet you tries to squeeze your giant, giant head into every Sunday. Chris Rainey, a.k.a. He Text Me. I will miss those bubble screens you caught for a loss on 3rd and short in the regular season last year. I'll miss your speed, even though that race you and Wallace promised to have ended up being to see who was faster at not being on the team anymore. Congrats, by the way. You won.
You won.
Ryan Mundy. I will miss you, Ryan. I will miss rooting for the hometown kid from Woody High in the Steelers secondary, even though you gave everyone a case of the Mondays when they started you on Sundays, and you cheated up to the line and gave Ike no support over the top and allowed Tim Tebow to beat us in the playoffs. Will Allen. I'll miss you, Will. I'll miss getting you confused with Cortez Allen and never knowing exactly when or how you got on the team or if you ever actually contributed. Keenan Ivory Lewis. I will miss how people wanted to sell the farm to keep you here because of one productive year on an 8-8 Steelers team. Enjoy Bourbon Street, Keenan, and the bounty the Saints gave you. But don't take any bounty from Jonathan Vilma. Doug Legursky, a.k.a. the Big Legursky. I will miss the second best Pittsburgh-sounding last name on a Steeler jersey behind only Jerry Oslowski. I will miss the fact that even though you were born in Frankfurt, Germany, you look like you were born in McKeesport. Willie Cologne. Not only are the G and the E in Cologne silent, they aren't even there. I will miss you on the O-line. You were a beast, even though you had more muscle tears than a paper shredder at Enron. Max Starks, I will miss your humility, your leadership, and your dependability on an offensive line that's had more injuries than a dodgeball game on a leper colony. And the fact that you never got into any trouble while you were here and really got what it means to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Starting every game last year left some pretty big shoes to fill. Size 19. Byron Leftwich, a.k.a. Giant Gary Coleman. I will miss your character and your positive influence in the locker room. You've had more stints with the Steelers than Lindsay Lohan has had in rehab, but you've been a class act every single time. The thing I'll miss most about you is your Stan Belinda throwing motion and the fact that you're arguably the most immobile black quarterback ever to play the game, and somehow you ran for 31 yards in the opening drive to get a touchdown against Baltimore. I don't care if we lost that game and you broke your rib even though no one touched you. That was awesome. And finally, Charlie Batch, a.k.a. the Homestead Hero. You showed kids that grew up in the shadow of the stacks that they could be great one day, that they could grow like a rose out of the cracks in the rubble of a broken-down steel mill and hand the ball off to Barry Sanders, that if you gave it everything you had and pushed through all the hardships, you could return and win 2 Super Bowls with your hometown team. You showed kids that felt forgotten and lost that you remembered where you came from. Your contributions off the field will most certainly continue, but I'll greatly miss when Ben throws a pick, not hearing from at least one of my friends, "Put Batch in there." Because if there was ever a hometown kid worth rooting for, it was you. And guess what, Charlie? When they finally put Batch in there, you beat Baltimore. You beat Baltimore on the road the year they won it all, and I can't think of a better way for you to ride into the sunset. I'll forget about being 8-8, hopefully by the time I retire, but I'll never forget the day you beat Baltimore. Thanks for the memories.
And that concludes Bill Crawford's Steelers in Memoriam. We'll be right back. It's the DVE Morning Show live to tape from St. Vincent College in Latrobe. Steelers training camp on your home of the black and gold, 102.5 DVE.